Hello! I wanted to hop on today and talk about cultivating a life of prayer with the Lord. So, anybody that knows me well knows I'm kind of a Webster's 1828 dictionary junkie. So, I wanted to start by sharing what Webster says to cultivate means, because it will help us in our endeavor here. So, Webster and his 1828 dictionary, which is free online, by the way, says to improve by labor or study, to advance the growth of, to refine and improve by correction of faults, and enlargement of powers or good qualities. So over the past few years, I've talked with a number of women, a lot of them younger than me, who have experienced frustration in their ability to maintain a faithful, consistent prayer life. So I want to encourage you. I hope that this definition is encouraging, because one of the things that Webster is implying is that it takes work. It takes a correction of faults. It takes enlargement of powers or good qualities. So it is worth spending time thinking about how can we better our prayer lives. So one of the first things I think is most helpful is to consider your time with the Lord as an appointment that you can't miss. So the way I like to think about it is I love the Lord and I long for time with him. And I think the more we grow in our love for Jesus, the more we want to spend time with him. So I do think that over time, as our love for him grows, it gets easier to make time for him because we want to. But there are certainly seasons where we are dry, where we are busier than usual. Maybe we have a new baby, and so our sleep schedules are messed up, so we don't have that one set aside faithful time that we can bank on every day. But I think that in every season, we could probably pinpoint throughout our day at least one block of time. There's no, you don't have to have a time limit on it as to when this is. So we don't need to be legalistic about this, but the point is just make a time, set aside a time, ask the Lord when the best time would be to every single day spend time with him. Write it on your calendar if you need to. Put an alarm on your phone if you need to. But don't miss it. Be committed not to missing it. I liken it to, although it's much more important than, making a doctor's appointment. You make a doctor's appointment and you generally keep it unless an emergency comes up. Or you schedule a coffee date and you generally keep it unless an emergency comes up. So how much more should we be faithful to keep an appointment with the living God than those other lesser things? So that's the first thing I think is most helpful. So figure out when in your day that's going to be. Don't compare to other people. We can make all sorts of assumptions according to scripture as to when the best time is during the day, but I think that's going to vary from season to season and person to person. So figure out what works best for you. I will say that I have heard people say, I really want to wake up early in the morning, but it's so hard for me to. And so one of the questions I'll ask is, well, what time do you go to bed at night? And a lot of times, that starts a good conversation. Well, 11 o'clock, and they're want to wake up at 5. 11 o'clock, and so I say, well, it would be helpful if you could go to bed earlier so that you can get adequate rest so that you can wake up in the morning. And then you can, ask yourself more questions. What am I doing? Why am I staying up until 11 o'clock at night? Is it truly because that's only time in the day I have with my husband? Is that the only time in the day when I can accomplish certain tasks that must be done? Or am I wasting time? So if you find that you're wasting time and it's a discipline issue, then I would really encourage and challenge you to discipline yourself to go to bed so that you can wake up and spend time with the Lord if in the morning time is when you want to do it. So that's the first thing. Make an appointment with the Lord. The second thing that I have found super helpful is to make a prayer list. It is overwhelming at times to see the needs out there of our friends, of our family, of people in the world at large. And we want to be faithful in praying. And so we can't pray for everybody every day. So what I've done is a few years ago, I created a Word document. I put it in landscape form, which is horizontal, and I made 3 columns. So the first 2 columns, I have every day of the week bolded. And then I have 8 bullet points underneath each day of the week. And so what I did was just ask the Lord, help me to form my priorities. Who should I be praying for, and how often should I pray for them? So what I've done is every single day I pray for my husband. Every day I pray for my kids in general. And 5 days out of the week, I pray for one specific child because I have 5 children. In addition to that, an older woman encouraged me to do this a while ago, when I pray for my children, I pray for their future spouse and their future spouse's parents. Because I'm in the trenches of motherhood, I know what it's like to need wisdom, to need endurance, to need discernment, to need help, to need encouragement. And I want that for them too, because they are seeking to raise up my daughter's future husbands and my son's future wife. And so I want them to have the best input that they can have, which is from the Lord. So I do seek to faithfully pray for them. Then I pray for my best friend and her husband, and I pray for her every day. We have 5 elders at our church, so I pray for our elders and their wives and their family, one of them 5 days out of the week. Then I pray for either somebody from my family of origin or somebody from Blaine's family of origin. And then I pray for a younger woman that I'm mentoring, and then pray for another couple friend. So that covers 8 people, 7 days of the week. And then I numbered on my last column, maybe in a third, 1 through 31. So every day of the month, I'm also praying for somebody else. So really, every day I'm praying for 9 people, at least. That's not counting people that Lord brings up through the day or prayer requests that come up through the day. But this is my planned time of prayer with the Lord. So that can be people from church, people that live across the country, people the Lord has just put on my heart to pray for, people I haven't seen in years, whoever it might be. And I actually I'm lacking 2 spaces of people to pray for. So I use this, I keep it in my Bible, and when I have my time with the Lord, I pull it out when I'm ready to go through it. So the other thing that I do is I have 2 prayer journals, and I don't always write out my prayer, but I do love to do it. I love writing, and I just love recording things. So it's one of these mini notebooks. I think it's 5.5 by 8.5. I'll put a link in the blog post. And I have tab dividers, and I've written the names of people on there. So if you're watching this, you might be in here. But I do sometimes write out prayer. So one day, if somebody finds this, I just have to trust that they'll know I pray for them more often than once every 5 years. So I don't use it all the time. But the one that I have for my family, I do use more often. Again, I don't use it every day, but I do journal in here more often because I see it as a record that I can look back on and see testimonies of the Lord's faithfulness. And so it's already been so encouraging to go back and read through some of the things I've prayed to see how the Lord has either comforted me because there have been difficult things that I've written about, seeing how he's been attentive to my voice in answering prayer, seeing how he's given specific help, specific wisdom, specific discernment. So it's been a really special thing to have and hold on to. I don't know that I will give it to my children one day or not. It may just be for me. And as it fills up and I need to empty it out, I do take out each section. I keep it separate and I have a specific place for it. So I have found this to be very helpful. I think having a system for prayer, it doesn't feel restrictive to me. It really helps me to stay on task. It reminds me of people that I want to pray for, and it helps me not to forget to pray for other people. So I have found it to be very helpful. So it's super easy to make a list. Just go into Word, create a document. You can make it look prettier than mine. You can make it more complicated than mine. You can make it simpler than mine. But that's a basic system that I have. So it has been helpful to me to be able to, 1, make an appointment and keep it with the Lord. The way I see it is this is a sacred time that I have all alone with the Lord every day, and I want to jealously guard it. because he is the most important person to me in the whole world. So why wouldn't I do that? Now, do I need to be flexible if a baby wakes up and interrupts me? Absolutely. I'm called to love God, and I'm called to love others. So I am loving God when I'm loving my baby that wakes up and interrupts that time with the Lord. So, but it's a super sweet time, and I want to do whatever I can to guard it. So I want to go to bed so that I can wake up and spend time with the Lord. I want to make sure that I don't have any distractions. I don't look at my phone. I don't bring my phone with me. I have my own little prayer corner. So it could be helpful to think through of a certain place maybe that you go to. But anyway, I hope that these are helpful things to you and that you are able to implement some of them. So let me know if you do. Let me know if you tweak them. Let me know what some of your favorite tips for prayer are. And I just want to encourage you that part of cultivating something means it takes time. It's going to be difficult. It can feel at times like you're not thriving, you're not doing well. So go back and tweak it if you need to. But just know that when you are faithful in little ways over long amounts of time, you will eventually see fruit. So bless you today.